That is so beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Rainbow Rev Show, catching hell, shaking off the flames, all that and above. I am your host, Rev G, the Rainbow Rev, Reverend Gerald Palmer, MSW. However you want to picture me. So today is, as the title says, today is World AIDS Day. Every December the 1st is World AIDS Day, and that's the a day that we remember those that we have lost due to complications from AIDS. We also honor and support those who have been infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. And I don't think I've ever done a World AIDS Day broadcast because, to be honest with you, I never emotionally had the space to do that. Yeah, I mean, because I don't know. I think there's many of us that HIV and AIDS has impacted. Um, me personally, I don't think have any family members who have passed from complications from AIDS, but I have, man, many friends who live with HIV and AIDS, and I have those who have gone with the ancestors, colleagues, and especially with the advocacy that I have done and the ministry that God has given me, you know. And even talking about it right now. So, and I'm going to attend a World AIDS Day remembrance celebration or with a keynote speaker and all of that. Years ago, I used to participate and help organize, but for me, my experience with HIV and AIDS really started in 2002. I mean, before that, when I was going through my, schooling as a social worker, I had did a practicum, which is an internship in 2001. I did it at a local, mental health organization, and I worked with some clients who were living with HIV. Right. But it wasn't until I graduated in 2002 with my bachelor's degree in social work when I was welcomed into the world of AIDS, of HIV/AIDS. So I worked at this organization. I got hired to be an HIV and AIDS case manager in 2002. So my first day of work, I was, I mean, man, I was sharp. Had my tie, shirt. I was just, man, I was brilliant. And I had like office, like desk stuff, that you could put files in. I had a box, man. I had a box of stuff. Like it was matching. I remember it was blue plastic. My mother got me well, she actually made this like plastic plant. She really is good with designing that stuff. So I call her Sister Palmer. So Sister Palmer made me that. Um, my family, man, they were really excited because that was my first real professional job as a professional social worker. So I didn't even get, I don't even, I don't think I got like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to settle in when a colleague of mine, she said, okay, you're going to see your first client. And I guess that was her way of breaking me in and welcoming me into the world of HIV and AIDS. I mean, you're talking about early 2000s, right? A box in the office. And she said, okay, we're going to see your first client. Um, and I want to introduce you to him. I just want you to see the kind of work that we'll be doing together. So in the community, I mean, my coworker, my colleague, she had a I mean, she had a great reputation for compassion and empathy for those who have been tossed out, and disrespected and disregarded. So she takes me um, to visit the first client. It was at a local hospital here in Kansas City, and little beknownst to me that the client was uh, a young man who was actually brain dead, and we were going there to pay our last respect. Uh, that young man's family did not want to come see him. His his pastor refused to come see him. No one who knew him was there to see him. He was very young, like 18, 19. He was gay, tossed out the family, and did what, I mean, you realize that 60 to 70% of homeless youth are homeless 60 to 70% of homeless youth, and I need to get the numbers, it's somewhere around there. 60%, 60 to 70% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ plus. That's a problem. So being young, tossed down the street, this young person turned to sex work to survive, and unprotected sex, and contracted HIV, and it transitioned to AIDS. And he was found unresponsive under a bridge. So my colleague takes me, and again, it was just like a total shock to me. I mean, first day of work, that's trauma. It was first day of work, and I'm witnessing someone take their last breath. And yeah, he was a person of color. So I'm witness this young man take his last breath, and I'm just angry. I mean, just so angry because I'm like, why? Where's his family? Where's his loved ones? Nobody was there but us. And the doctors were not going to. He was brain. They were not going to turn off the machines that kept him breathing and all of that until she got there. And she washed his face, she combed his hair, she held his hand, and she prayed and asked me to pray. And at that time, I was not consider myself to be a Christian. I was considered myself to be an atheist. I felt at that time I had no need for religion or religiosity. So I took no part in that. But I was like, if there is a God, something needs to be done. And from there, I mean, where do you go from there? I mean, where do you go from there? So I wanted to learn all I could about the social issues that impact HIV and AIDS. I wanted to learn about all the social impacts, those things that impact those who are LGBTQ plus. Because not everybody who is LGBTQ plus, not every gay man has HIV and AIDS, but the stigma attached with being gay also is attached to HIV and AIDS. Whew, child. So I learned, and I kept seeing a theme. I kept seeing a theme with my uh, patients of clients of color. And that theme was God does not love me because I'm gay. God does not love me because I'm transgender. And I was thinking, all I heard about God is a God of love. Where's this message that God does not love you? Where's this message coming from? And so the more that I researched, the more that I studied, I start seeing the link between uh, scripture use and how people were using their own beliefs about sexuality and sexual orientation, their own illogical beliefs, and blaming it on scripture, blaming it on the Bible, blaming it on God. And so that took that that from 2002. I did that job. I lasted that job for about a year, and then I I decided to, okay, so I won't work directly with HIV and AIDS, but I'll volunteer. So I've volunteered and did a lot of different things from 2002 to 2000, and I think 2012 is when I stopped uh, because so many losses just kept coming. I mean, after that client, it was like I was seeing a client die like every week, every week I was seeing a client die. It just got, I mean, it was just too much. And so I started wanting to learn everything I could about the scriptures and the passages that addressed HIV, sorry, that addressed homosexuality. And what I found was there was nothing that addressed homosexuality as we know it. The original writers had no concept of human sexuality and sexual orientation. I mean. That's what I realized. And so, I mean, from 2002 and on today, I've continued to done research. But honest, just today is the day to remember just some of the just fantastic and cool people that we have lost along the way. And I think about some cool people, man, that just mentored me and some beautiful people. I won't say all their names, but I remember when I was pretty much going through when I when my theology started to shift. Because again, I wasn't really considered my I gave myself back to religion, back to God in 2003. In 2003, came back to spirituality and religion. And 2000 around that same time, I got my call into the ministry, and I was ordained. I was licensed in 2004. I was ordained, I think, in 2012 was when I was ordained, but I was licensed in 2004. I preached my first sermon January 2004. And I remember when my theology shifted in 2010, and I just went through hell. You know, people start turning their back against me. I have a lot of relatives who have churches that I used to preach. I used to be on a schedule. They anytime I was a supplement preacher. Anytime I forgot what they call that, but anytime they would like take vacation or go out of town, they were like, "Hey nephew, can you come preach for me?" Hey cuz, can you come preach for me? Hey GP, can you come preach for me? GP, can you speak on this day? GP, can you come preach for me? And so, you know, I would do it. But once my theology shifted, there was no haps. That was not the haps, and that was hard. That was hard being having the same people who say they, love you and down with you, and then have to turn their back, even family members. That was hard. But one of the people that reached out to me, she was trans, and it wasn't. She didn't die from AIDS. She actually died from a hit and run, but she did live with HIV. And I remember her. She reached out to me because I had met her at a I went to a convention probably a year or two before she passed. And I'm a quiet person, but I love to challenge myself, and so I would like network with people. And she was just so good. I mean, she would send me messages long distance. She was older. It's like a grandmother type to me. And she just, man, gosh, when I was going through and I felt like, man, going through my wilderness stage, and I think I had just been diagnosed with bipolar. And man, there was only a few people that I shared my diagnosis with. And I was just, gosh, she helped me. And I cried like a baby when she passed. Gosh. I think about some other cool people, um, former clients. Um, I remember one client. He was in the last stages of life due to complications from AIDS. Sorry, I lost my mic. Sorry, I'm not crying. I'm not. I'm crying. Sorry, gotta get situated. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Hopefully my mic works. I know it does, right? All right, so let me get situated again. All right, so anyway, yeah, he was in his last stages of life, and man, he did not want to die in that. It was a facility. It was a hospice facility, and he did not want to die in that hospice facility. He wanted to go home, and he had puppies, and he wanted to die with his animals, with his baby, with his fur babies. He did not want to die in that hospital room. And he had elderly parents, and he lived in a small rural town in Kansas. And the physicians was like, he needs to stay here, and finally, after advocating for him and making sure that he got the things that he was supposed to get, We had it all arranged where he would go home, and I was going to make my way out there on a Saturday. He was going to go on a Friday, and I was going to make my way out there on a Saturday, and finally got him home, and he got settled in Friday morning, and um, he got to cuddle with his fur babies, and he passed. And I just remember just his resiliency, and I mean, I just I think about other just their strength, and I think about people I know now who have been living with HIV or AIDS for 20 something years and just living healthy, productive lives. Um, so I just think how blessed I've been to just be able to, and not just men. I've also know transgender women, and then I also know women, hetero, sorry, not hetero, yeah, heterosexual women, cisgender women who have lived with HIV, lived with AIDS, and I've called many of them friends. And I just think about we just have so much further to go when it comes to HIV and AIDS. We have so much work to be done, so much work to do, so many things that we need to accomplish. And that's why I've been a big advocate of addressing religious based heterosexism and homophobia because the research shows that how we feel about LGBTQ plus people, it definitely impacts their lives. And and that's why calling myself Rainbow Rev after someone used that to mock me, I used the Rev, and I've addressed homophobia and showing love and support for our LGBTQ plus family members and family members as our just our universal family as a way of breaking down the stigma. And that's one of the reasons why I call myself Rev. Somewhere along the way, I've kind of not lost my way, but been distracted with trying to just survive, trying to keep, trying to protect my brand and my name and fight for my career and life because people along the way just just being people. But I just taking this day, I feel a lot better having this conversation. You know, and I'm gonna get my day started and check out this on Herbert. Get in here so I can catch that Zoom link for the official remembrance uh, keynote and all of that, and because it's been a long time, because I've just been so just think about just people. I don't want them to die in vain, and I think we just have a lot of work to do because people think that it's over. No, HIV is still hitting the black community. And that's one of the reasons why I will continue to speak up and speak out against hate. And I mean, I'll take the hits, but my debating, that's, I mean, I'm debated out. Again, been doing this since 2002, and I had a gospel radio show where I talked about HIV and AIDS in the black community for 3 years. The last 2 years, we talked about religious-based homophobia, and I had all kind of debates. I would People would stop me. They would know me. They would stop me and try to have debates. I mean, I had to fight for my life, to keep being a licensed reverend. I mean, I was brought into a room of elders and was challenged on what I believe, and you know, I defended it. So why in the hell do I need to defend it to somebody, to people I don't know, that have no bearing over? my calling. Because the only person that can take my calling away is God. But she's not listening to y'all. So just remember, if you have someone who has lost their lives, not lost, I mean, gained their wings, or however you seem fit when it comes to AIDS, just drop their name off in your mind. You don't have to put it here. Um, Peace.